Hey everybody, thank you for watching Weekend Garage. So today what I want to do is I'm going to go through a couple of things. I got to go through my windows and get those cleaned up, the passenger and driver's side windows along with the rear quarter windows as well. I'll eventually get the back window cleaned up. There's a lot of like overspray on them from when the car was painted before. Another thing I picked up too is the window weather stripping. So I was able to get that picked up. Another thing I wanted to mention as well is I got my dash from Koenig's Classics. So I'm going to be opening that up. And again, that's a used dash. So I need to take a look at it, examine it, clean it up, and see what I need to do to get it prepped before I install it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this box opened up. Well, let's take a look and see what this dash looks like. My hope is that I do not have to do a whole bunch of work to it, but we'll see. You know, it's hard to come by a good dash that's in really good conditions, especially one that doesn't have the little pod provisions for the radio broken. So again, that's why I had to get this dash, because the other one that I had purchased had the broken radio pods. All right, I'm getting this taken out of the package, and I'll set it on the ground and we'll do a close-up on it. Okay, so this is the new dash. What it looks like. It's in pretty good condition. Does need some cleaning up though, and I got to spray some fresh vinyl paint on it. One thing I did notice, and Leo did mention this to me, is this provision here. I believe that's for the rear window defroster, but my Burlwood insert will cover that up, because this car did not come with one, so that shouldn't be an issue. But other than that, I mean, it looks pretty good. So I'm going to work on getting this thing cleaned up. Another thing I wanted to point out, and you all might have seen this in my Javelin videos, is I picked up some of this SEM prep soap. This is basically I'm going to clean the dash with this, and this will get the surface ready for painting. All right, I just wanted to show you guys what I'm doing here, what it looks like. This is the SEM soap. So I'm cleaning the glove box door right now with it, and basically you put it on dry, and you just scrub it, and then once you scrub it, then you go ahead and rinse it off with water, and then this is going to get all the impurities off. And I'll show you what the next step is after here, since I didn't show you on the dash housing. But again, I've already cleaned this a couple of times. I cleaned it, then I rinsed it off, then I dried it with the air hose, and then again I've applied this stuff on again to again get a good cleaning on the part here. So I got everything cleaned up now. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this vinyl prep on the part here. So you just basically spray it on really good. So now you're just supposed to wipe it in one direction, and this is going to basically soften the surface up and get it ready for paint. All right, I'm ready painting this thing. I used that SEM soap that I told you about. Then I used this vinyl prep from SEM, and then this is the black vinyl paint that I'm using on the dash. So I've got the first coat on it already, and it looks pretty good. Just letting it sit for a few minutes, and I'm going to apply the second coat. So one thing I want to point it out to you all is I'll use this vent as an example. You know, it has the chrome accent around it that I painted over, right around the trim there. I'm going to paint that separately, and I'm going to experiment and see what I can do to paint that all around, because it goes where the gauge is too. Now, keep in mind, my burl wood insert's going to go over the gauge area here. But when it overlays, these outlines are like silver / chrome. So I'm going to go ahead and try to paint those separately. I do have a chrome marker that I'm going to try. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna mask it off and paint it with like a chrome paint. Okay, so today I'm very frustrated. I was basically cleaning up my glove box door, and then, long story short, I dropped it and it broke like a plate. So mad about all this, because it really turned out nice, and now it's just trash. But I wanted to show you guys something. This is actually the door for the glove box for the original dash that came in the car. And that other one was just an extra one that I had. So I wanted to show you guys how to take this lock off, because this could be a bit of a challenge. What I want to show you all is, if you see the lock there, there's a little square hole. Let me put that close to the camera. So what you do basically is you have to have the latch up. So you push the latch all the way up like this, and what you do is I just use a little screwdriver. You just stick that in that square hole, and then while you're doing that, you inch it out basically and I'll show you once I get it out exactly what it is that I'm doing here, so you understand. But you have to inch it out, one little step at a time. Okay, great. So what you do basically is when you're pushing on that square thing, what you're doing is you're pushing down each little latch there. So that was the purpose. I pushed the first one down, that allowed me just to get it out, just a fraction, right? And then as you pull it out, you're just holding one down at a time, basically, just to basically just inch it out, just a little bit at a time. So that's the way that goes in. So there's this other piece here that basically screws in, and that's how the whole locking mechanism goes on, is by this part right here. So basically what I'm going to do here is I just have these needle nose pliers. I'm just sticking them in there. Again, you could use anything. Then I have these channel locks, and I'm just holding the other side, and you know, then it's able to turn freely, because this basically just screws in, and it's already so loose that, you know, it's coming apart pretty easy. All right, so there we go. I got this off. Fortunately, this is in good shape here. I was worried that it was going to be kind of chipped up and broken, but it's in pretty decent shape. I just got to get this one washed and cleaned up like I did the other one, and then paint it with vinyl paint. So again, just wanted to show you all, you know, again, this thing screws on, and to take it off, you gotta basically stick your little screwdriver in this thing and nudge it out, nudge this lock set out. So just wanted to show you guys that. All right, I'm here painting the trim. I use a Duplicolor Perfect Match Chrome, and I use some plastic rack basically to wrap the dash housing with. And I just want you guys to see here how it's turning out. I've got everything masked off. Just right now I'm going to do the trim there, and I'll figure around the gauges and everything later. but just wanted to show you guys the process and how it's coming along. All right, so here's the finished product. It came out pretty good. If you look at the chrome trim there, everything turned out real nice. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do around the vents yet. I do have that pin, that chrome trim pin, but I may just leave it black. The more and more I think about it, keep in mind there's just a hair of overspray inside the middle where the gauges are there. But that burlwood insert's going to go in over this, over those areas. All right, so my Dakota Digital gauges came in, so I'm pretty happy about that. I want to show you guys something first before I open it up. Is I have the original factory gauge cluster here. You know, with this, what you're supposed to do basically is you're supposed to take this the lens off here and then basically remove the gauges from this housing here. Then you install the Dakota Digital gauges into this housing. You know, I thought, you know what, I'm probably going to end up selling this. Obviously, it would sell a lot better if I would just keep everything intact here. So I'm just going to put these away. And what I ended up doing is Dakota Digital, I'm not going to open it up right now, but Dakota Digital makes their own housing basically to put their gauges in. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, but I have the gauges here, so let me open the box up real quick so we can look at it. All right, so I'm hoping I can show you guys something here. It's all, oh wow. Well, I'm not going to install them right now because, you know, you saw that I just got the dash painted and everything, so I'm going to have to let that sit for a week, but pretty interesting, pretty compact here. So it looks like the gauges are all wrapped up here. I think there's another piece too as well for the other gauges on the side. So I just wanted to show you guys this. This is good news as far as my thoughts, because as far as the depth of these, because I want to put some speakers in the dash, and there's some limitations with the existing gauge housing on the driver's side. This will be in the way. If you get a big speaker with a big magnet on a speaker, it'll be in the way on the driver's side. So I'm thinking with that I might have a little more room, but I'm not going to know yet until I get the dash installed and everything, and then we'll see what I can get away with. I forgot to show you guys that my car came with the SS gauges. Of course, this is an SS, but I just wanted to show you that. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the window regulators, and I'm praying that I can get these things put in and everything positioned right. Reason being is I had, if you look at some of my earlier videos, I had actually painted and made marks on the bolt positions, not realizing that they were going to actually paint the whole inner door. So those are lost basically. So I'm going to have to figure out how to position everything, all the regulator and the brackets and everything. So I'm going to get to that right now. Well, on a positive note, at least I labeled everything. Got a passenger side regulator here. Got the driver side right here. I got these brackets here. Man, I don't even remember how this stuff went together. And I got some packets here. I don't think you can read. It's barely legible, but I did write driver and passenger for those brackets. So there's some other things. There's like a pole looking thing that goes in there, and I don't know where it is. I gotta find them. There's one on each door, so I'm gonna get started on this. All right, so those regulators and hardware that I just showed you, those were actually for the rear windows here. I was trying to get things installed, and I realized that nothing was gonna fit here, and then I had to actually go through one of my old videos, a couple of them, and noticed that there was some additional parts missing. So I reached out to H&S Body Works, and sure enough, they had my parts. So I do have my window regulators for both sides now, that I can start basically getting all the hardware installed, so I can get ready to get the glass. All right, so I got these window stoppers all cleaned up. They're actually in really good condition. And One of them actually had a screw instead of the bolt in it. It basically has a bolt with a large washer with like some little grippers on it. And again, you know, this car was just thrown together when I got it. So they just had a screw in the other stopper. So I ended up finding the correct bolt. So it is a 1/4 inch 20 thread by 1/2 inch. And I went through my jar of washers, and I actually found a nice big wide washer which would be needed for this. So I'm gonna basically just get these set in there. I was talking to my friend over at the body shop, and he was telling me basically to put these in first and just let them rest. Just let them sit all the way down, because they'll be adjusted later. So I'm going to install these basically and just let them rest. All right, so I'm just getting the driver's side regulator cleaned up. What I did here for this wheel here, it was all full of gunk and everything. I got my air hose and I blew this whole part off really good. And then I cleaned this up really good so this wheel is free spinning. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some heavy duty wheel bearing grease basically on this and in the mechanism. And reason being is because if I use just like regular grease, like let's say to grease fittings and things of that nature, that stuff when it gets hot, that stuff's going to just melt and it'll drip. So it'll just drip inside my door and probably just start dripping on the ground. So this heavy duty wheel bearing grease, it's made for high temperature environments. So if I smother that on here and on the gear here and all the moving parts, you know, I'll put it on the gear here, probably maybe a little on the spring, I don't know. Either way, point is, if I apply that heavy grease on this part, if it gets really hot, you know, it gets 110 here, sometimes 113 in the summertime, it's not going to affect this stuff. So I don't have to worry about it dripping down my doors. So that's just something to consider. Another thing, so I already kind of started working on the bolt heads here. So these just have slight rust on them, just a little bit of surface rust. So I'm basically just cleaning this up with a wire brush, and it's coming out pretty good. And I'll do the same with this crank mechanism here. It's got a little bit of surface rust on it too. So you'd be amazed just with a wire brush what you can do basically just cleaning everything up. Just have some patience and it'll come out nice. Okay, so basically what I'm doing, this is called the guide assembly here. And what I'm doing here basically is I'm just putting some of this heavy duty wheel bearing grease that I told you about. I'm just applying it in the track here. Once the window regulator wheel lands in there and starts moving back and forth, then it'll pretty much lube itself up. So I just wanted to show you guys this and what I'm doing here basically, and I'm going to go ahead and get this installed.